Well, welcome to the launch of Migrant Women, and I would like to introduce yourself to our audience.
Well, I'm so happy to be here because I think this is a really worthwhile cause, and it looks like it's going to be a fantastic magazine full of interesting articles and really snappy pictures.
How is it important to give the voice to those women, particularly they are not necessarily originated from this country?
Well, I think people who are immigrants always have a harder time. Issues can be traumas from their home countries, difficulties in adjusting to a new country, difficulties with language, difficulties with foreign ways, missing family and friends. I think there are many adversities, but there are also many opportunities. And my latest book is The Gift of Adversity. And the whole idea behind the gift of adversity is that whenever there's trouble, whenever there's a problem, a setback, a disappointment, there's also an opportunity. So I think that for migrant women who come here and leave a lot behind, they need to be able to somehow understand that they can take all those changes that seem to have such a negative connotation and turn it into a positive thing.
You wrote several books. Would you tell me more about them?
My book Transcendence is all about transcendental meditation, which is a simple technique for delving down into your deep, peaceful, quiet inside self like the bottom of the ocean and cleansing yourself and renewing yourself so that you can live more effectively and more peacefully. My book Winter Blues talks about our original discovery of seasonal affective disorder, or the dark days depression, if you like, and how this can be treated in multiple ways, including more light, including psychological techniques. Now The Gift of Adversity, and several other books as well. They're all available on Amazon.
Okay. Well, what made you actually involved, to start writing? Did you go through any personal experience yourself, or did you find it, where are you originally actually from?
I'm originally from South Africa. I now live in the United States, so I'm a migrant myself. And in my emigration and my leaving behind friends and family and familiar ways and having to adapt to new ways, I have had challenges myself. In fact, my greatest difficulty was also my greatest opportunity, because when I came to North America, I had never previously experienced such dark, dismal, cold winters. And I realized I got quite depressed. And that actually led me to describe this new illness. It's not new. It's been around for many centuries, as long as human beings have had to work all year round. But this new condition of seasonal affective disorder, I would never have been able to describe and help to find a treatment for it had it not been for my own difficulties with the winter.
In your opinion, how important to actually support women generally and the struggle in their daily life, especially actually migrant women? They have challenges, particularly when they first come in this country. I think what you, in your opinion, will be supporting, or is it in a way giving them a platform?
I think we need to understand that these women who've come in from other countries have got enormous resources, talents, gifts, and that could add tremendously to the quality of life and the economy and just the well-being of the whole country. And so I think to see each and every person as an opportunity and something that could really be a resource for the country instead of a problem or a drain or a difficulty, that's how I would like to see things.
You're quite a busy man. How do you relax?
I meditate, I walk, I spend time with friends, I travel, I do all the wonderful things that London has to offer.
If you have advice to migrant women, what would that will be?
I would say every difficulty is an opportunity, that I would give the same advice as one of my great heroes gave, and that is the hero Viktor Frankl, who is in my book, The Gift of Adversity, where he said, the one thing that nobody can take away from you is the freedom to choose how you view your world. And so, as you look at your world and see all its problems and all its difficulties, how you choose to view that and what you choose to do with that, that is a freedom that nobody can take away.
Who's your role model? Did you have a role model growing up?
I had many role models, but in fact one of my greatest role models was my mother. You know, a very strong, brilliant, forceful woman who really taught me that women can do anything that a man can do. And that led me to have a profound respect for women, their intuition, their intelligence, and their charm.
I'm buying the book.
Thank you very much.
Well, welcome to Migrant Women magazine launch. Tell our audience and our viewer what's your name and what you do and why are you here?
My name is Roxana Parra Sepulveda. I am psychotherapist. I met Mirella not long ago, and at work and talking, we get to find out that we had a lot in common in terms of our view regarding migrant women. I work as a clinical lead in a counseling service, so we support lots of women who have survived domestic violence and sexual abuse. So part of migration also might be influenced by that, by domestic violence, by sexual abuse, and all kinds of abuse, really. So we work helping those women and to find a new way in life, to find new places, new ways to be, and find out a better place in their life.
Tell us, our viewers, and what you do and how you're involved in the magazine.
Yes, okay, so my name is Trevor Clarke. I'm the sub-editor for the magazine. That means I read every single article that comes in, I scrutinise it, I restructure it, make sure it's all in grammatically correct English, and I do a lot of the marketing, a lot of the help and the support for the marketing of the magazine as well.
Where's the idea of the magazine came from?
Well, it was Mirella's idea. Mirella, the editor-in-chief, and she's a migrant woman herself, and she thought it would be a great idea that there's a lot of migrant women from all different corners of the globe and nationalities. They share a number of things in common when they arrive in a new country, about how they settle down, how they start a new career, about culture, integration and language, and she thought there are magazines that are aimed at one particular section but not one magazine for everybody, and so that was her idea that she came up with.
Tell me more about the magazine and what the aim of the magazine, who they are audience or they're targeting. Is it only migrant or is this kind of all different type of women?
I think for all women, I mean, it's interestingly, although it's called Migrant Woman, I would say it's a magazine about migrant women, but it's also a magazine for migrant women. But interestingly, we've got a lot of interest from British women as well. There's a lot of stories in there that are as much of interest to them. The thing that I find amazing is there's a lot of men that's taken an interest in the magazine too. So although it's predominantly aimed at migrant women from any country in the world, and it could be first generation immigrants as well, it looks at a range of issues. It does look at some of the heavier issues, but it's light issues about business, about language, about career, relationships. It's really quite a broad mix.
But it's kind of a positive role model platform for women.
Absolutely. Really, the angle that it's using is that a lot of women have got positive stories to tell. Some women have gone through some very challenging and difficult times in their life, but what we're finding is they've got a great fighting spirit. This is what they all share in common, a determination, an aspiration. So they come through it the other side, and they're telling their stories of where they are now, where they're moving on to. We've got other women that are entrepreneurial, and they're telling us their stories of how they come up here, created their own business. But yeah, broadly, it's very positive.
So do you think it gives us a platform and a voice for general women, not necessarily be a migrant women?
I think it does. I'll give you one good example, and I was having a conversation with someone here earlier about that. Domestic violence has been covered in a number of issues, and it's been looking at it from a migrant woman perspective, because it's saying, well, they are particularly vulnerable for certain reasons, new country, sometimes to do with the culture they've come from. And yet I only heard on the radio today it's a massive issue in this country too. So it's really it's a big problem everywhere, and I think British women will have a big interest in this as much as migrant women.